Okay, so Spain have overcome South Africa 3-1 in the Women's World Cup in Le Havre this afternoon. They were 1-0 down at half time, so it didn't go all Spain's way, as the scoreline suggests. It was actually a very even game for about 60 odd minutes until the two penalties come in the second half. Now, South Africa did trouble Spain with their pace and their energy. While that was brilliant in the first half, it actually was their undoing in the second. They tired, they didn't, keep a solid tempo throughout. They really put a lot of energy in the first half, and by the second half they were running out of steam. The fitness of the European side told over the African side. The Spanish they play at some top European clubs for the women's game, and that they are got that fitness level that the South Africans don't have. The South Africans have the energy levels and the commitment. It's the fitness that was lacking in this case. But their pace caused Spain all sorts of troubles in the first half, counter-attack especially. And the Spanish team looked very disjointed and not really didn't get everything going in the first half. And Ketlana's lob of the Spanish goalkeeper in the first half comes from a quick South African counter-attack where the Spanish defence sloppy. They give the ball away very quickly. The ball is turned over, almost like a rugby counter-attack where the opposition turn over the ball. And not only is it a lob, it's a fast-paced chip lob. Again, it wouldn't be out of place in the men's game. Very good technical skill to pull off a lob with a lower trajectory than you would normally expect from a lob, and with pace on it to make it harder for the goalkeeper to read. And it nestles quite nicely in the top corner of the goal. And South Africa deserved that. They played with more pace. They wanted the game more at this point, and the Spanish looked very disorganised, very confused, no rhythm to their play, the combinations weren't working, and the South Africans were very aggressive in defence and shutting down the space and tackling. Half-time comes, Spain makes some changes. They changed things up a little bit. There's a goal disallowed by VAR in between the two penalties. So VAR was used 3 times in about 15 minutes, and that's turned the game. Hermosa's first penalty is for a handball by Van Dijk. New interpretation of the rule, new ruling brought in, unnatural position of the arm. I would say this season just gone, that's not a penalty. It shouldn't be. The way that the South African defender has turned her head and turned her body, it's like she's shielding her face from the ball. Pings off the corner of her elbow. But under the new interpretation of the rule and the wording of the rule, it's a penalty. I think it should just be as simple. If the ball strikes your arm or your hand, it's a penalty. Stop with this interpretation change. But this is this new rule they're experimenting with in both the men and women's game. It went to VAR review, and it's given. Now, there'll be those saying that's not a penalty. It's accidental handball, and there'll be those saying, well, penalties have been given for less, should be a penalty. So it's taken. Hermoso equalises. After that equaliser, there's a goal ruled out for offside by VAR. Again, getting it right. Then there's the follow-through and the sending off and another penalty, which basically seals South Africa's fate at this point. Again, I'm not so sure that was a penalty. The player was clearing the ball and has lost her balance and has followed through into the nether regions of the Spanish player. I'm just going to wince like that because as a bloke having been stamped in the groin, it's not a pleasant experience for either gender or sex, to be honest. I've played rugby and been stamped on in the crotch. It hurts. It's accidental. It's not a deliberate follow through. It's not as if she's bent her leg back and kicked out. It's swinging boot, cleared the ball, lost balance, standing foot's gone, and it's caught the inner thigh. That's the best way to describe that without being violently ill. But the VAR has determined that is a penalty and a red card. So Hermosa scores her second penalty of the game. It's now 2-1, 82 minutes gone. The third goal by Garcia, it's a defensive blunder between goalkeeper and centre-back, but at this point, South Africa chased the game with 10 women on the field. When you're playing against a team that's better technically and better as in team play and has better fitness, and you're a player down, it's harder to do. And lack of communication there and lack of experience at world tournament level has told. It's a comedy of errors, but Garcia still has to finish, the play. She has to keep concentration and put the ball in the net. And I've seen over the years, both in the men and women's game, open nets like that missed. I remember Fernando Torres had a similar opportunity when he was playing for Chelsea, and he missed in the Champions League, and he missed a sitter. So it has happened before. But the Garcia goal, I think it's a bit harsh from South Africa. of the effort they put in, but their discipline was lacking by the last 20-30 minutes, and their energy levels have gone, the concentration had gone. And this is a learning curve for some of these teams, and you can definitely see the quality difference between the higher ranked teams that have got more professional based players or more experienced players, and those lower ranked teams that are either new to the world stage and getting to the World Cup or have less professional players in their ranks. It's more pronounced in the women's game than the men's game, the golf in quality. Although the South Africans really, no one expected them to score with their first ever shot in the World Cup finals, and they did that. And they gave Spain a real run for their money for the majority of the game until the last 20 minutes. And then it went away from them, which was unfortunate, but it's the way it goes. Another day they could have actually had a proper upset and scored a couple of goals, and Spain could have been really up against it in the second half, but it wasn't to be. Next game up is Norway and Nigeria. Fingers crossed that we have a good one in that one, because the Nigerians, actually, for an African side, are quite a technically good side. Very similar to South Africa with their pace. And Norway, I think, are a better team than Spain. The Scandinavian countries constantly, over the years, their federations have pumped a lot of money into the women's game. The youth level systems are very, very good. And the Norwegians have been a top side in women's football for a very long time. So Nigeria, they are the underdogs, but I think it's going to be a very fun game to watch. This Spain-South Africa game, actually, I think is one of the better games of the tournament because both sides got on the score sheet. Whereas in the other two games so far, one side's been kept to nil and one side's dominated the game and won the game by scoring. So it's going to be fun. But still, guess what? No draws yet. Much like the Men's World Cup, where we only have one goalless draw, let's see if the Women's World Cup can keep up that trend of having a lot of goals, because there's been a lot of goals so far. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Place your comments below, and I'll have some more videos for you, obviously, very soon.